What's up YouTube? Chris here from Steel and Scripture. Excited to be back with another video. A little change in scenery today. Also going to be speaking while enjoying a good old fashioned. So for those of you who are a fan of a good bourbon, cheers. This is going to be Four Roses. I think this is the select batch. Pretty decent for an old fashioned. So cheers guys. Today I'm going to be going over my personal experience with the LA Sheriff's CCW renewal process and the unfortunate lapse in licensing that I faced, and for the lapse that probably some of you are also going to face. Not going to be down talking on LA Sheriffs, but just giving my personal perspective, my opinion, and then also some maybe helpful advice for those that have their CCW through LA Sheriff's Department. So getting into the video, I originally received my CCW back in 2023, so I was licensed starting July 12th, and that initial application took approximately 18 months to 20 months for my first license, which was pretty long. Truthfully, I wasn't really enjoying that timeline back way back when I first applied, and was under the impression that hopefully renewal will be a little bit quicker. Well, unfortunately that was not true. So getting into my timelines, and a little bit of additional context for LA Sheriff's Department, and I'm not sure if it's true against all of California. I do know that it's true for LA Sheriff's Department, but your CCW license is only valid for 2 years. After those 2 years, if your license expires, you are not able to concealed carry. If you are caught with that, I believe it's a misdemeanor. I'm not a lawyer, so don't take what I'm mentioning as legal advice, but you are not able to conceal carry if your license expires, given, right? Anyways, in LA Sheriff's, they are asking for you to apply no sooner than 90 days before your expiration. So again, I was authorized as of July 12th, 2023. My license expired July 12th, 2025. So I did apply 88 days prior to expiration. Unfortunately, I was out of town on the 90th and 89th day, but I applied 88 days prior to expiration in hope that I would, have the process done fairly quickly and be able to get my renewal by July 12th, 2025. So going into the timeline, April 15th, 2025, 88 days prior to my expiration, I went ahead and submitted my renewal. I did not get approval to go ahead and proceed with the shooting qualification until May 30th, 2025. Within the LA Sheriff's Department website, it is mentioned that you cannot, and they will not accept any shooting qualifications that were authorized prior to them providing authorization. Again, that is mentioned in the website, and I wanted to follow the rubric given. I did not want to face any possible delays, and also wanted to display to the LA Sheriff's Department that I'm able to follow simple directions. So May 30th, that's about 6 weeks after I submitted my renewal, I received authorization to proceed with shooting qualifications. Again, May 30th, my license is set to expire July 12th. That's another 6 months or 6 weeks out. So anyways, I went ahead and submitted the shooting qualification June 8th. So a little over a week, about a week and a half after. Once I received the approval, I went ahead and took my class the very next weekend. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it the next day or anything. I had work, and that's the unfortunate part is, right, as adults, we have to plan our schedule in advance, and the soonest that I was able to make myself available was the following Saturday, or about, I think, 10 days or so after. And I went ahead and submitted it, my shooting qualification, the very next day. So I believe they provided, or I think I took the test. You know what, I don't want to give you guys, and forgive any music that you're hearing in the background. There's, I guess, some sort of party going on behind me, or something going on. Okay, so June 7th, I took my shooting qualification. That is on a Saturday. The company that I took the shooting qualifications with did not provide me my CCW renewal qualification and certification of the 8 hours of training until the 8th on that Sunday. So on June 8th, I went ahead and provided the shooting qualification / proof of training. FYI, for those that are looking for a good company, I'm not sponsored by them or anything. They're not giving me a kickback, but Medic Up Consulting was phenomenal. They put me through some pretty fun drills, and they really allowed for one to experience a great shooting experience, some great training material, but then also, more importantly, didn't make you feel like you were wasting your time. With taking an 8-hour mandatory course, it was a little bit of a exhausting thought. I didn't feel like that is necessary, but I'm glad I did it. They provided some really good feedback. So for those that are looking for a good course and a fun course, that's not just going to bore you with 8 hours of book reading and going through laws. They give you all of that material, but then they're also giving you the fun shooting content also. So I think we went through about 400 rounds that day, so really fun day. But anyways, getting back into it, so submitted the required documentation by June 8th and kind of got ghosted from LA Sheriff's from then. Was waiting, nothing. And then the week before my expiration, July 12th, I started calling them. Actually, more like 2 weeks before. Now, during this time in LA, a lot of protests, a lot of the ICE stuff started. So a lot of people started protesting. Near me, there was some riots. There were a lot of people just doing these demonstrations publicly that were not very comforting to the public. I myself, as a father, I was really uncomfortable stepping out of my home, knowing that if I took a freeway, our car could have been jumped on. Could have put my family in danger, could have put others in danger. It just wasn't a very welcoming feeling during that time. And obviously not that I would want to resort to using my firearm, but I wanted to ensure that I was able to protect myself and my loved ones and my family and innocent ones of any such dangerous encounters. Unfortunately, during those protests, they were just hitting on anyone, jumping on anyone's car, didn't really give a care for those that were within vehicles or those that were innocent. And even if you had aligning thoughts, they didn't really care to check if you were aligned with them or not. So anyways, not to get into that stuff much, but during that time, that stuff was going on. There was also a lot of, and this is kind of happening all the time now, but shootings. And again, unfortunately, we're in a sad world right now where you have to stay on your best defense. So I went ahead and called Sheriff's Department and let them know, hey, my license is set to expire in 2 weeks. I've submitted all of the required documentation. I have qualified. You guys have provided me authorization to proceed, essentially mentioning or alluding that I have been approved and that there are no flaws with my record or anything. And obviously I haven't given them a reason to judge me in that way. So I mentioned to them, I absolutely need my license by my expiration date. I don't see a reason from my perspective of why this should be delayed. So I'd like to understand, what do I need to do to ensure I get my license on time? And they were all, very nice on the phone, but they mentioned we're backlogged. We have a lot on our plate. Unfortunately, you are looking at a unknown timeline. And what would have helped was submitting all of your paperwork on time, which caused me to question them, right? If I can't submit my paperwork, and the system won't allow you, they won't allow you to submit before the 88th or before the 90th day. I asked them, what would have been an ideal timeline for me to submit all my paperwork? They said when everything was due at the earliest possible date. And I didn't get into an argument with the sheriff, but I mentioned, hey, I submitted on the 88th day. You're telling me I could have done it sooner. 2 days would have made a difference. And the sheriff mentioned, yes. You should have submitted all the paperwork on the absolute due dates, which was very frustrating to hear. I don't understand how 2 days prior would have made a difference. And on my CCW shooting qualification, again, I received the approval on the 30th. I think that was a Saturday. I guess maybe in their mind, it would have helped if I would have done it the very next day, which I would have loved to. But unfortunately, I can't drop everything on my plate to get things done on their timeline. It's at my soonest convenience or soonest availability. And again, off by maybe 10 days or so for when they had provided me authorization to do my qualification, and yeah, 2 days delayed from when I was able to submit. But I don't understand how that's gonna cause a lapse in license. Well, anyways, the sheriff thought differently, and it wasn't just one sheriff. I spoke to different sheriffs. I spoke to different officers trying to find out what can I do to expedite. And after maybe about 3 or 4 calls, they just mentioned, you gotta wait. We're not gonna be able to provide you with a timeline. You are at the absolute last step. It's just a matter of waiting for, I don't know if it's the colonel or the lieutenant that needs to sign off on it, but essentially someone needs to sign off on it saying that you're clear. Background check, everything was smooth. It was just a matter of them stamping the last approval, setting an appointment date, and allowing me to go pick up my license. So I faced a lapse. After July 12, 2025, I lost my capability to conceal carry, which was very discomforting. Again, considering all the violence that's going on right now and the chaos that we're facing in today's world, it's uncomforting. It's not a very warm feeling knowing that you're able to defend yourself and then suddenly lose that right, despite you being a law-abiding citizen, despite you submitting all the paperwork that's required, despite you having this prompt communication with them and trying to ask for for this to be expedited. They weren't able to accommodate my request. So very disappointing. And I would say my best advice would be get all the paperwork done as soon as you can. And that's what I let my other buddies know. I think I was the first one to receive this CCW within all of my LA friends. And I mentioned to all of them, make sure everything's submitted right on the 90th day. You do not want to have a lapse in license. So now getting into when I finally received approval. So my license expired July 12th, and I received approval on July 26th. July 26th, I received an email from the LA Sheriff's Department, and they informed me that I was able to schedule I wasn't called by them or anything. It was just a simple automated notification letting me know that I have been approved. And July 26th was when I received that. The soonest pickup date was August 25th. Another month out. So 45 days of a lapse of a license. Unacceptable. Unacceptable that, again, an individual that's submitting everything on time is not able to pick up their license until 45 days after the license expires. And I'm rounding, but yeah, approximately, let's call it 45 days after. Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense why a law-abiding citizen cannot continue on with their license if everything and dues and payments are submitted on time. And I did ask the Sheriff's Department when my license expired, hey, if I'm approved, if you guys don't have any hesitations on me as an individual, and if I have my old license, can I please continue carrying until I pick up my new license, considering the lapse is due to your either lack of faculty or delayed timeline, whatever it is, can I please just proceed with carrying my firearm? And they said no. If I would have been caught carrying my firearm, I would have been treated like any random person that doesn't have their CCW. You are not carrying legally, you're breaking the law. So that was disappointing. Obviously not something I wanted to hear, not something I wanted to undergo, but that was the sad reality. So for those that are within LA Sheriff's Department, I have seen even further longer lapse of licenses. I've seen some folks with 2 months of a lapse. I've seen some folks that didn't even know when they would be approved yet after 2 months. So very disappointing. LA Sheriff's Department, if you're watching this video, again, please don't take it as I'm down talking the facility or your unit. I definitely appreciate you guys and what you guys do on the daily, but I feel like there needs to be a larger investment for the CCW folks. We're law-abiding citizens. You guys know we underwent a very lengthy approval process, and now, especially now with the new law requiring psych evaluations, you know that a lot of us are all of us are law-abiding citizens that don't have anything crazy on our record. And if we're submitting all the paperwork, if we're paying all of our dues, I don't understand why a law-abiding citizen has to have their right revoked, their license revoked, while I guess your team is catching up on or trying to balance new requests with renewal requests. It's unfortunate, and again, we are the good folks trying to just simply protect ourselves out there, while all these other chaotic people are doing a bunch of damage in the community. So I am kindly asking that there be a revamp in the process, some process optimization to hopefully help us get to a smoother and quicker state. And even for the new folks, I've seen some of my buddies have a 2-year wait on a new license. It's not good. It's not good at all. And I totally understand their pressure of feeling like they absolutely need to risk themselves staying armed out on the streets while there's a bunch of chaos, especially those that live around the downtown LA area where a lot of that stuff is going on. Obviously, my advice is don't give anyone a reason to not provide you a license, but it is also hard. But anyway, folks, I hope this was able to shed some light behind the process. Again, this is my own personal perspective. These are my own opinions. I'm really hoping that we're able to move on to a better state with the LA Sheriff's Department. And yeah, guys, just a little bit of a unfortunate truth, but again, this feedback is needed. This is critical feedback that perhaps the sheriffs needs to hear, and I did provide this to them, as ultimately, without feedback, no one's going to get any better, right? So thank you all for listening. I am going to send you guys out with a scripture. Today it's going to come from Matthew 26:52, and it is, "For all who draw the sword will die by the sword." Very strong and powerful verse, especially considering the recent unfortunate incidents that have been occurring lately. Very strong verse. So I pray that a lot of you guys listen in and soak in that scripture. Anyways, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.